Hello, everyone. I hope you enjoyed Do All the Things and those fantastic Diddy Kong racing runs. I'm Helix. You are now watching a Parallel Universe, the show about community-created content. So we're talking fan games, mods, custom levels, even occasionally things like randomizer and bingo. In light of QuakeCon happening this past weekend, there are a couple classic shooters on deck today that should be a lot of fun. First off is Doom 64, the UnMaking run by Zelo. Zelo, tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, I will. So anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Zelo. However you say it, never matters. This is a custom mod made by one of our wonderful commentators here. We'll get to that in just a second. But this was released in, I believe the original version was in 2020 for Doom 64 EX, which is a source port, and then it was adapted for the remaster the year after. So before we go any further, I would like to let my commentators introduce themselves real quick.
Hello, I'm Immorpher. I manage a lot of the Doom 64 communities. I also provide technical assistance for mods and Doom 64 ports.
And I'm scwiba. I'm a Doom modder, and I made this with a lot of assistance from Immorpher.
Yeah, so the UnMaking is a fantastic custom mod to sink your teeth into. It's going to do a lot of really cool things that you're not going to ever see in base Doom 64, so you're going to get a lot of a different experience than you normally would. But with that, I think I accidentally just closed out my screen share. Let me fix that real quick before we go any further.
It's normal.
It is very normal.
For Doom 64 runs.
Thank you for catching that. Really quick, while you are bringing that back up, I want to shout out TwitchCon, because Games Done Quick Express is returning to TwitchCon at San Diego, October 17th through 19th. Bring this up now because it is very important that you all learn more at twitchcon.com, and stay tuned for the schedule coming up next month. I want to start getting that in your brains now, so keep an eye out.
All right, well, we should be good to go now, so we're just going to start a new game. So the category that we're just going to be doing for this is Watch Me Die Speed. Watch Me Die being the hardest difficulty. It's equivalent to Ultra Violence and PC Doom. There's no proper Nightmare, and it would be a nightmare to play this on an actual Nightmare difficulty, so I'm glad that's not the case. And Speed is just our any percent. We're just going to be going through this campaign as fast as possible. So get started in 3, 2, 1, go. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the movement first, and we'll get into like the intricacies of what this WAD entails in terms of level design. So in terms of movement, we want to strafe run as much as possible, just like the other classic Dooms and a lot of the other early 90s FPSs. Strafing is faster because when you're moving forward or backwards and strafing to the left or right at the same time, the game adds those movement vectors together, and you basically go 28% faster. So it's just faster to just strafe run wherever possible. We also picked up a Berserk in this level because we want the punching power. Berserk powers up the fist by a lot for one level and also refills our health, so that is useful for later on. So this first level with Old Dog, new tricks. It's pretty straightforward. We're just going to be hitting some switches to get back to the exit now that all the elevators are active. We do need to conserve our health because we do need some for the beginning of the next level because this is a very difficult WAD to play through casually. The difficulty is quite a bit higher than the base game.
Just splattering enemies so they get out of your way.
Yep. Oh, I am getting block map bugged. I got block map bugged really badly right there.
Oh, no.
I am getting block map bugged so bad.
That was pretty nasty.
That was bad. So the block map bug is a pretty infamous bug in the original PC games that's carried over into 64. And the short of that is that the game takes shortcuts with how it calculates damage and other things to where it skips a few things, and this can affect collision. So we had a combination of block map bug, trying to punch enemies out at certain angles, and also just really bad positioning on the enemies. So hopefully that's not going to happen again.
Yeah, when you get block map bugged and you have the shotgun, sometimes you find you shoot the enemy behind the enemy that you're trying to shoot.
That's really apparent in some levels in 64. It doesn't happen too often, surprisingly, in this WAD. I'm going to save just to make sure that doesn't happen again. Like I said, we want to try and preserve health here because the beginning of the next level introduces an enemy type that's technically in the original game, but you don't see them. So we'll get to have more of a proper introduction to them.
one of the weird little changes in Doom 64 too is that the hitboxes of some of the enemies were increased. I don't really know why, but like imps, for example, have a much bigger hitbox than you think they do, which I think also makes them harder to punch.
Yeah. Okay, finally got to the exit there. So this is going to introduce us to the Marines here as we start Manic Marines. You want to talk a little bit about like what they do and why you decided to use them?
Sure, yeah. They're generally only used in the opening cutscene of Doom 64. They sort of infight with other monsters just to show off the combat in the game as it pans onto the logo. But I just figured, what would they do if you put them in a regular map? And what they do is they'll infight with other monsters, but if the player shoots their gun near the Marines, that makes them really mad. So they'll attack the player. So in this map, you have this push and pull where you kind of want to use the Marines to your advantage by getting them to fight other monsters, but you don't want to make too much noise or they'll start killing you.
Yeah, especially since we didn't go out of our way for a shotgun, so we were only with a pistol, so we were very not equipped to fight enemies right now.
But then there's points like this where you kind of need them to clear out the path for you.
I have tried so hard to skip that without getting the Marines, and I am not convinced it's very possible. All right, so one last part of the room right here. We're going to slip around these enemies, and then we're going to activate a whole bunch of Marines here. I'm going to take the risky strat since I have a whole lot of health, and we're just going to barrel towards the switch that would open the exit here. So we're just going to pray that the enemies all get out of the way. Oh yeah, the path got cleared really nicely. Will I get blocked on the way back? One imp in the way, no big deal. There we go.
Yeah, this is a part of a series of megawads made by scwiba.
Yeah, this is actually like the last in your series, so we could talk about that a little bit later. Now we're on to Hex Complex, which is a really, really cool design. I was actually blown away when I first played this map. This was like the first map that really showcased what you could do. Also, we're going to skip a whole bunch of this room, and we're going to grab this Berserk Pack now. You have to be careful not to grab that too early, because if you grab that Berserk Pack too early, the enemy is still... it's kind of like the all ghost bug in PC Doom, where you end up losing collision with just about everything, and you can't really harm anything. So, have to be very careful grabbing that Berserk.
Very rare bug.
Although I do use that bug intentionally in a later map. We'll see that pretty soon.
All right, so now we have just a bunch of time scripts right here. So, Immorpher, if you want to go ahead.
Oh yeah. scwiba actually found the limits of the engine on this map, where he went to the maximum number of moving surfaces at one time.
It's amazing.
We didn't know what that limit was.
It starts to do some really weird stuff once you move too many platforms at once. And I couldn't really figure out what that was causing that bug at first.
Yeah, and it was just an engine limit. They didn't have enough variable space to do more moving platforms.
It's really amazing what the Doom 64 engine can even do, like just when really uncapped. I'm amazed this game just doesn't flat out break sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, all this stuff is done with the scripting language, which is a pretty basic scripting language, but like the fact that it's even in a Doom game is pretty cool.
Yeah, because the Doom 1 and Doom 2 didn't have the scripting language.
Oh my goodness, that was such bad luck. No. Oh my goodness, that's okay. Like, that's okay. But wow, that was incredibly bad luck. So thankfully, we're just going to be waiting for a while, and there will be some medkits that show up, so we can still get our health back. I don't have any armor, which is a little bit concerning for the next level, but we can probably make it work. So this is just a lot of waiting, and from a speedrun perspective, unfortunately, there is a lot of waiting in this WOD. There's a lot of just like scripted fighting and waiting for things to happen. So a lot of this WOD, in terms of time, is making sure you just don't flat out die in these sections, because it's very easy to die. And then in sections where you have a little bit more freedom to move around and trigger things liberally, you want to just get through those as fast as possible. So
the longer you spend in making, the better, right?
It is a really cool WOD, and there actually is a lot of stuff that we're not going to see either because we're skipping it or we're just not playing those levels, because we're not going to be playing any of the secret levels here. So I do want to have my shotgun ready because a couple shotgunners show up right here at the end. And hit scanners are very deadly. Hit scanners basically are the shotgunners and the zombie men and the Marines. They target you, and if you are in their line of sight when they decide to fire, you just get hit. There's nothing you can do about it. So that is not
Get
a
out of
whole
here.
lot left. Health is a little concerning. We're just going to make it work. But into Warehouse Shuffle, this is a really neat level if you're playing for secrets. The main puzzle of this level ends up being trying to access the secret level, because we have these all these boxes here and these platforms, and you have to do a lot of raising and lowering platforms. I'm going to actually restart the level because I got knocked off. There's a lot of just raising and lowering of these platforms to be able to access different areas, which ties into getting the key that opens the door to the secret exit. So it's a really neat level. It's a lot of puzzle solving. There's some really neat puzzle solving in this WAD. But we're just going to book it towards the normal exit here. I had that happen in a practice run last time, too. I have to be careful not to blow myself up. The barrels are in full force today.
Oh man, the barrels are the biggest enemy now.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, barrels do explosive damage. I think it's the same as a rocket, where they do up to 128 damage, depending on your proximity to them. So they just fry me instantly if I'm too close, because I don't have any armor.
You just got blocked by an enemy below you.
Yeah,
just a common problem in Doom.
Yeah,
where
you want to talk
enemies
about
have
that?
Infinite. Enemies are like infinitely tall in Doom, even though they don't look like they are. So if you move anywhere above or below a monster, you'll get blocked. It'll stop you dead. So jumping over them, like on these platforms, if there are any enemies below you, you can stop your jump and you'll have to start over.
Yeah, this has just been some really bad enemy luck here and there, but it's also just some sketchy play. They all combine. A lot of this game, both base game and this WAD, is learning to improvise, and you just kind of make the best of situations. So we're going to lower these platforms and raise them back up to the proper height so that we can get to the exit. There is a Spectre in the way. Spectres are rather annoying to deal with because they're just so invisible. I actually
got a big hitbox.
Big hitbox, yeah. I actually got blocked by the barrels below me for a second, so. All right, so now we can access this right here. Hit this switch. This allows us to get the elevator raised, and then we can jump across the last couple of platforms to get to the exit here. Health is very, very low, and there are a couple of enemies that can snipe me, so just hopefully not gonna have a bad
That's
time.
a little dicey.
All right, that's good.
Oh, nice.
We're out.
Almost a death exit.
Almost. Thankfully, it wouldn't matter too much because we don't need to worry too much about equipment here. I hope that's enough health. That should be enough health.
Did you
On
miss
a
a med
microwave.
kit?
I hope I didn't. I might still live here. If so, we're gonna see what happens.
I thought I put enough medkits to heal you to full, but maybe I didn't.
I think, yeah, so you have a whole bunch of medkits stacked on top of each other normally. Hopefully this is enough to get through the scripted sequence right here. You're not supposed to die. You're supposed to just barely survive. Nope, I actually didn't live, so. Oh, shoot, I forgot to save at the beginning of that level. Well, this is okay.
Do it again.
Yeah, do it again. That's fine.
Oh, even more health. Good.
I'll have more health this time, so it's okay. I actually get to try and do a trick right here, hopefully. That might be okay. So I'm at full health. So the way poison damage works in PC Doom and Doom 64 is that it just checks every X amount of ticks, whether you're on poison or not, or any kind of damaging sector. This is like irrespective of whether you're actually standing on it for an amount of time. It's just, hey, are you standing on it now? Are you standing on it now? Are you standing on it now? If you manage to get to this spot at a very specific time at the very beginning, we can actually skip one instance of poison damage. And unfortunately, we were just barely short on that. So I'm only going to have 16 health now.
Yeah, this one is a pretty unique level where Scwiba did something for the first time.
Yeah, we just passed one of the ghosts. It was really hard to see, but there's a few enemies in this map that spawn in, but like their spawn is interrupted before they spawn in completely, and then they're despawned, which in Doom 64, if you do it fast enough, leaves them kind of half in reality and half out of reality. So they can still damage you and block you, but you can't kill them. So there's sort of this unkillable thing chasing you.
I'm not even going to try and take my chances trying to get around the Cyber Demon. Usually he just pops me with a rocket if I try and skip past him. And especially...
That scared so many players.
Oh my god, yes. There is one Hell Knight I have to get around right here, and this is actually a pretty scary one to get around. So we're going to do a little bit of movement manipulation. I missed the switch, unfortunately, so I got caught. Yeah, you can't damage this Hell Knight at all because he's in that ghost phase. The Imp actually managed to toss a fireball and distract him. I didn't know the Imp still had that property. I'm always learning new things when I do showcase runs for this game.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've ever seen that.
Every time something new happens in Doom 64.
Every time. It happened last week for QuakeCon. It happened on Hidden Heroes last week. It's so that's okay. We want to see the funnies.
Wouldn't be a speedrun on the GDQ channel without a that's never happened before moment.
Really not. All right, so here's starting packing plant. So we're actually just going to grab these extra goggles here. Just brighten things up, makes it easier to see. So this is just a giant fight. And being a starting packing plant, of course, we're just going to mash everything because this crusher can do a lot of the work, thankfully.
I guess you could say those ghost enemies were in a parallel dimension.
So we're just going to be...
I hope you brought chips.
A lot of chips. A lot of cheese with that. So we're having nachos. So this is a lot of waiting for enemies to teleport in. There's a monster closet all the way in the distance with all these enemies. So we're just going to have to survive several waves, and eventually the Hell Knights show up, and killing all the Hell Knights lowers the path to the exit. So we're normally supposed to be using the rocket launcher. I have a bunch of extra ammo that I'm going to get a refill on the next level, so I might as well use it now. It's just a lot of not getting blocked, because as they mentioned earlier, Pinky's Inspectors have huge hitboxes, so it's actually difficult to get around them at times.
Imps Inspectors. There's a bunch of fat hitboxes right here.
Okay, now's a good time to start using the rockets here. So we have to be careful with picking up the rocket boxes, because if you pick up, we do have a max ammo cap. We can only hold 50 rockets right now. So if we pick up like a box of 5 when we're at like 48, we're gonna lose those 3 extra rockets, and we don't want that because we want a whole bunch of rockets for the next level. So there'll be one more Hell Knight. Where is he? He doesn't want to show up. This happens sometimes.
The last Hell Knight, it's always a problem.
All right.
Yeah, they're all in monster closets off the screen. Sometimes they get lost.
All right, into Dead Man Standing. This level is like huge. This is like the first really big open level, and this is where like some of the maps in this water are so big that it actually takes a significant amount of time to quick save. So we got a lot to do here. So why don't you tell us about this map, like the thought behind it?
Yeah, so this one is basically, if you look at the central room, which Zelo doesn't have time to do, but there's a map that updates in real time that says, like, there's 8 demon incursions, and you need to clear them in order to exit the level. So it's 8 points in the map that you have to go and defeat. Generally, it's some sort of, like, it's a Baron of Hell, or it's a cluster of Lost Souls or something. This one right here is a couple Hell Knights. So you've got to clear out the entire map, and then the exit will open. It's not a map that's about gathering keys necessarily, although you do gather keys along the way. So I just kind of wanted a map where you can do it in any order. You can just hang out and have fun. It's just a very free-form kind of map. I think I was craving that after making smaller, more linear stuff.
I really do like this map, but it was very challenging to work on from a routing perspective because I had to figure out what order I needed things and such. Like, I need the yellow key to get a couple of things, and getting the super shotgun early is really good because the super shotgun is immensely powerful. So it's just really neat to just kind of decide on the routes and just figure out what you need to do here and there.
This is a homage to a secret level in Doom 4.
You know, I didn't realize that until you said that. I didn't realize this was like supposed to look like Outpost Omega.
You know, I don't even know if I had that in mind when I made it. It's mostly a dead simple from Doom 2.
The outer dead simple, then I guess the inner is pretty much simple as well. Yeah.
I must have been thinking of both of them. Because it's definitely Outpost Omega.
I guess in this dimension, it's dead simple, and in a parallel dimension, Outpost Omega.
Sure. All right, warehouse is next right here. So this has a bunch of lost souls that we need to kill.
This might be the hardest fight in the map, just because that lost souls in Doom 64 are so aggressive. And they come from every direction.
Yeah, thankfully in a run, they're very easy to deal with because we know where they're all going to pop out. But yeah, casually, you will get ambushed by these and usually just die the first couple times. I know I did. And once we get rid of these last boxes, there's several more that are on this side. And they like to ambush you too. Chain Gun's really good at keeping them away. Chain Gun has a high firing rate. And Lost Souls have a high pain chance when they get hit. So they go into the stun animation a lot.
Oh, here we're going to see Zelo doing some monster spawn blocking. So normally there would have been 3 imps there. There would have been 2 demons. So he's blocking 1 enemy each time a wave spawns, which means there's 1 fewer enemy to... And for example, there would have been 2 Hell Knights. So that makes it a lot easier.
I always go the wrong way for this. I accidentally went back up. No, I don't want that.
So nice you wrote it twice.
Oh, God. Look, it was just a good ride, man. All right, got some Cacodemons in this room, so it's going to be Cacodemons and then Hell Knights, and then we're going to block 1 Spectre, too.
I don't know if you know this, but you actually can spawn block 1 of those Cacodemons, too. Because their hitbox is so big when they spawn in.
I actually did not know that.
You can be standing below them and spawn block them. I've seen it.
I'm going to have to do that if I ever try and improve my time on this, then. The things you learn. I thought I opened that. All right, so there's only one last part to do. We have just 1 more tower. This one's a little bit annoying when trying to do it fast because your weapons... Every enemy in this game has like its own weight, and enemies can get pushed by your weapons. The enemies here, the Cacodemons and the Lost Souls, they love to get pushed around, so it's rather aggravating sometimes.
Yeah, they can flow into nowhere.
Oh, come on. Okay, so we got 2 Cacodemons on the side and 2 Lost Souls trying to ambush me too.
Yeah, the Cacodemons are meatballs rather than tomatoes.
My favorite. All right, and that should be the last fight.
That was nice and clean.
Yeah, that was a pretty good fight at least. So.
Sometimes the Cacodemons can kind of skirt around the other side and be really hard to hit.
I've had points where it seemed like they would never come back.
Yeah.
I always wonder if I get soft locked. All right, the Unabsolution. All right, so we have a Mother Demon to kill already. I'm going to do a very specific strat for this. I'm going to just get rockets first. I accidentally let her loose, but hopefully this will work okay. So because Mother Demons are really annoying to fight normally, we're going to let most of those homing projectiles hit the walls. Oh, that is not good. All right, we're going to have to bail. Those projectiles do a ton of damage if they hit you, so we're just going to be running around for now. The rocket launcher is really our only good source of damage here, so...
it was surprising to see the Mother so early.
It definitely scared me at first. Okay, she's dead. So, we're just gonna hop in the exit right here, and it's like, oh, we're dead. Oh, no.
I wonder where we're going.
So we do have some intentional death exits between the loosely labeled episodes. The Mother of all Demons is dead, but hold on a minute. There are 2 episodes left. This creature must be only one of the many manifestations of some nightmare entity beyond human comprehension, or at least beyond my ability to depict using the Doom 64 bestiary. I love those screens so much. So we start our descent into hell right here, and this is a Dig Your Own Grave. This is a really neat map, but also I think this is one of the most difficult maps in the run because it's very difficult to navigate. It's going to be very dark. It's going to be a lot of heavy fighting here.
And you do I think you skip a lot of the items in this map, because the whole gimmick of this map is that every time you kill a wave of enemies, the whole arena lowers, and you've essentially missed any items you haven't grabbed. But because you're speedrunning it, you're you're missing a lot.
Yeah, I
So
actually
I think you end up berserking for a lot of this map.
Yeah, I do actually pick up as much ammo as I can because the ammo is so helpful, just finding extra shells, extra bullets, because they do help on the next map as well, to shorten those fights down. So I do kind of skirt around the edge of the arena here. If the shotgunners can fight the other enemies, that helps a lot. But otherwise, we're just kind of picking up what we can. And we're going to keep that invisibility right there. Not because I actually need it, but because it's a good landmarker for me. So that's the last set of shells I need on this. And we're just going to deal with all of these Pinkies and Spectres. Like I said, it's a very dark map. It's very hard to see the Spectres in darkness here. Okay, so this should start the next wave right here.
This was done with the base for assets. Over time, we kind of added more custom stuff in there as we learned how to mod these engines. At least the newer official one.
Yeah, the Night Dive
That's why
remaster has been really good for that.
Yeah, at first when the remaster came out, we didn't even know how to really mod it well, and the UnMaking became the very first Megawad ported to the remaster, the 2020 Steam release.
Yeah, back then we had to actually patch the game files. I forget how we did that. There was a batch file and it did all sorts of stuff to your files.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
good. Managed to get that secret. So, sorry, I got to cut off real quick. So I was actually able to get into the rocket launcher secret earlier. You're normally supposed to hit a very obscure switch to lower that platform, but you can actually manage to get to that with the platform lowering, and that skips the need to do that because normally I would get blocked by like a Spectre or a Cacodemon trying to hit that switch. So that's like the biggest roadblock in doing this level fast. But now that we have the Berserk, we have some punching power to deal with the Cacodemons. We're going to get rid of the Lost Souls first, and we're going to try and bait the Cacodemons to fight with these Spectres here. So despite being all the way up in the air, the Spectres can still attack the Cacodemons from way below. So we're going to let them do a lot of the infighting, clean them up, and we'll deal with whatever stragglers are not being distracted here. So like as you can see, this guy's distracted. We'll just punch him out. Have that Spectre go towards that Cacodemon next. This one's distracted as well. It's just really fun to just see them just a whole bunch of Cacodemons taken down by Spectres of all things.
Nipping at their feet,
Yeah,
if they had any.
And you might think, this is really slow to do instead of like using my ammo. Well, I want to use my ammo on the next map because the next map is very time consuming without ammo. Come on. Okay, so this should be the last batch of enemies. We had like 4 Spectres around that last Cacodemon there. I see one trying to run away from me, like in the darkness. Yeah, unfortunately, the fist does not hit if they're not low enough. This is a big reason why we do it this way. All right, and that should be everything. We should leave this level. A really neat concept map, but it's so difficult to do that one fast. So now we have blast processing. And no, I don't mean a Genesis. I am
You activated my Sega Sleeper Agent brain.
So we're gonna do the frozen Cacodemons first.
This is my favorite part.
This map is full of, I think, what we in the Doom 64 community call gimmicky trash, where you basically are intended to get through the whole map without using your weapons. You have to get these homing fireballs to kill a bunch of Cacodemons. Each one that dies opens a door for you.
Yeah, it's a little
Later
tricky
on,
to route out how to make these work because these fireballs are very tricky to avoid hitting the walls. There's a lot of really tense geometry here.
And they do eventually stop tracking you, which is a thing I didn't realize, which you use on this last one. You kind of stand for a moment, and then it'll keep flying in that same direction.
All right, so that
sort of gives up following the player.
Yeah, I really do enjoy that design choice. It's It's a really cool way to do things. So now we have what we're going to use a lot of our ammo on here. So this with the barrel room with the imps, this is very slow to do normally. So we're just going to go ahead and clear out imps now. Because normally you set these barrels using a switch, they spawn, and then another switch over here will create a fire that will slowly explode them. This would be your only real source of damage since you'd only have a pistol if you were to play this from an IL start. This second wave of Nightmare Imps, Nightmare Imps move faster than normal Imps, so it's easier to lure them over to the barrels. So we're going to use the barrels just a few times just to be able to rack up the damage, and then we can finish off with the ammo that we saved from digging your own grave. So that should be good right there. All right,
Like
nice
pre-cooking your meal.
And the next up we have the obstacle course. And this is actually a little scary to do fast because we're going to take this invulnerability here. And but I can still be knocked off the course by the explosion, so I have to be very careful with my movement. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I did not fall. Chalk that up to that's never happened before.
Another one.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. And this last one we can just kind of run past, so this is pretty much done at this point, thankfully. So good obstacle course right there. A little scary, but now we have all 3 keys, we can get to the end of the map.
And the end of the map is supposed to kind of combine the concepts of those 3 challenges, but honestly, I don't think it works very well.
It works well enough. It took me a while to figure out how I wanted to do this, even with the extra ammo from like the shotgun secret over there that we're not going to visit. Please die. This one took me a while to puzzle out how I wanted to do. So we're going to grab this Mega Sphere. We're going to get a couple waves of this fireball to hit the Mancubus for us. Also have to be very careful to not get caught by an exploding barrel. So very scary here. And once we kill this Mancubus, an Arachnotron and 2 of Cacodemons show up here. So now we'll go ahead and use the rest of our ammo, because this is very tedious to do normally. I might not have enough to kill this. I might have to use a missile. Okay, thankfully, barely enough ammo. And that allows us to get out of here.
Normally you can use some infighting there, but yeah, it does take forever.
All right, Crosswind Crossfire. I think this is one of the coolest like concepts, and really shows what players are good at controlling the space, because this is very much about controlling the space. So this is the main gimmick right here, where we're just going to have enemies on both sides of us over and over. And we're going to get several waves of enemies in very, very dangerous situations. So I'm going to go out of my way to pick up some rockets and other supplies, because the secrets are not very far out of the way, and they're very useful for clearing these enemies out.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where you set up infighting, but then they're still shooting across and they still might get you.
Yeah, so that's why we left the original Hell Knight alone, because he likes to follow us out into this part of the arena, and then he distracts the Cacodemons for us. And we only need to kill the Cacodemons and the original Hell Knights to get out of here, so...
Yeah, that's pretty handy.
You mentioned a while back that you were on Hidden Heroes, and so if anyone wants to see more of you running Doom 64, you can check out the VOD on youtube.com/gamesdonequick at some point. Of course, all the other Hotfix VODs and all of our GDQ marathons and special events are over there on our YouTube channel as well. Those of you watching on YouTube, thank you, by the way. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay up to date with GDQ.
Thank you very much, Helix. Uh-oh. That was close. I almost got smacked by the other one while I went to save. We're going to pick up a secret here just because this some extra health and armor is really handy. So we're going to just light up this torch after we kill the Arachnotron here. So by shooting this torch, it lights up and we lower this hidden soul sphere, which is very handy. So now we're topped off on health and armor. So another wave of Cacos and Hell Knights here. So the original 3 Hell Knights that we skipped hopefully will be in the center and distract a bunch of the other cacodemons for us. There are a bunch of cacodemons in this wave. It's like, what, 8 or so? It's a lot.
I was 6, but I could be wrong.
I say 10.
It averages out to 8, close enough.
Yeah, those Hell Knights are really handy in these fights, but it does seem like in the run, one of the hardest parts of the map is squeezing by them in those narrow little spaces.
Yep. It's very much a
We're gonna have another
risk-reward
one
thing.
coming up.
Yeah, fortunately, the Hell Knights and Barons have some of the thinnest hitbox in Doom 64. I mean, sometimes that's bad because they can follow you places, but sometimes it's good if you around them.
Yep, so another couple Hell Knights right here. Make sure I'm topped up on shotgun ammo. That one's stuck over there. I actually have...
That's a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, I actually have 2 Hell Knights that are down here. I'm going to get rid of these guys first. He scratched me. So you can tell this platform is very thin, and I'm not allowed to use that side of the ledge anymore, otherwise I'll get scratched. So we're going to be very careful. So there's a little property with the super shotgun and the rocket launcher in this game. They actually push you back slightly whenever you fire them, and this means I had to be very careful of what my position is so I don't fall off the edge. So I'm going to save in between every wave here because the last wave is 3 Arachnotrons.
A shooting gallery, basically, moment.
I was wondering where the
pushback's
second
not-
Arachnotron went. I even hid behind the other one.
The pushback is not that noticeable in regular gameplay, but I wanted to use it in a way where you really have to pay attention because you're on such a narrow space there.
Yeah, it's a really good concept. You have to just really maintain the space. So now we just get a whole bunch of Barons to finish up, so we're just going to dump the rest of our rockets. That Hell Knight is still trapped. That's great.
Just chilling.
The safe space now.
I could use a lot of safe spaces in this campaign. All right, and that's the end of the map. It's a pretty good one. The next map we're not going to see a whole lot of. Walled Garden is really cool for secret hunting because it has another secret exit. But we're pretty much just going to take a straight path to one of the several normal exits in this map. So if you want to do secret hunting, you'll be here for quite a while.
I've seen runs of this map that took 2-3 hours, I think. The whole map is like a puzzle box, but there's a bunch of regular exits if you just want to bounce and not deal with it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to do right here. So we go from one of the shortest levels to one of the longest levels when hell freezes over.
I have this unhealthy obsession, I think, in video games with combat encounters where it's like you have to hold out against overwhelming odds. You know, you have to wait until somebody rescues you or an escape route opens up. So I do think I put maybe too many of those kind of scenarios in this WOD. This is one of them. We're not at the main room yet, but once we get there, essentially the whole map takes place there, and it's like, I don't know, 6 or 7 minutes.
Yeah, it's about 6
holding
minutes.
out until the exit opens.
Yeah, I think when I get into that main room, it's about 2 to 2.5 minutes in, and then the rest of it is spent in that room waiting for the exit. And I'm glad that you told me that all I had to do was survive, because originally I thought I had to kill certain enemies in the waves. So it was a big panic trying to figure out the triggers, because I probably should have looked at the maps in a map editor to figure these out. But thankfully you told me, so that simplified a lot of it. So it's pretty much just going to be a bunch of running around for 6 minutes and just dealing with the cold gimmick that, if you want to talk about.
Oh, yeah, we should probably explain that. The gimmick of this map, in addition to the holdout scenario, is that the whole map is damaging, essentially. The whole map is really cold, and so it hurts you if you step away from any heat source. And the heat sources are candles, torches, fireplaces. Anywhere there's a flame is safe to stand in. But of course, those are really small spaces, and so they get overrun by enemies. So you kind of have to dart between safe spots to grab ammo, to grab health, and to avoid getting totally overrun.
All right, so we activated a couple secrets right there. So I got a BFG for later by hitting a certain switch, and then there was another switch I activated, which does lower a Megasphere for later. So the Megasphere would set my health and armor to 200, 200. And this is a good time to talk about armor, since we're not going to really get... We have 6 minutes of waiting here, so we might as well talk about the mechanics. So armor, there are two types of armor classes. There's green armor, which normally a green armor you pick up puts you at 100 armor points and reduces damage by 1/3. And then there's the blue armor type, which gets you 200 points and reduces damage by 1/2. And when you pick up a Megasphere, it gives you the blue armor protection, which is really handy. There is one effect of this where if you have blue armor and you get to less than 100 points, you can pick up a green armor, and you'd think you'd want to do that because, oh, more armor, more good. But that also reduces your protection level down to 1/3. So it's best if you have blue armor to just hold on to it as long as possible, and then once you're down to like maybe the last 20 to 30 points, then you can probably switch off to green without much consequence.
Yeah, this megawatt ended up being quite influential in the Doom 64 community. It was the first megawatt that wasn't a port of Doom 64 that won a Taco Award at Doom World. So it pretty much got the notice of the rest of the Doom community. And after that, we've had like other mod sets like Ethereal Breakdown, and you can tell those mod sets are influenced by the UnMaking.
Yeah,
and just the idea of exploring new ideas and having unique structures and colors.
Yeah, it really made this WOD really opened it up for everything else, and I have to give scwiba a big shout out for that, because it's a really, really fun piece, and it's just really interesting to try different set pieces and experiences that you're not going to see in base Doom 64. And on that note, big shout outs to the Doom World community, since we mentioned them, since they've been around a long time, and you can play many, many custom PC Doom WODs there. Like, I think like the number of WODs is literally in the thousands at this point. So just years and years.
Tens of thousands.
Yeah. Just years and years, decades of mapping knowledge and experiences, new and old.
Yeah, we've been making maps for Doom since 1994.
And Scriba's played most of them.
Yeah.
He's way more than I have.
All right, now's a good time to go ahead and get some of the rockets in this area down here. So there's a little cache of rockets and a soul sphere down here. We're gonna go ahead and pick these up now. I do want lots of rockets for later. We'll come back down a little bit more. But yeah, as you can see, the health management is very critical, because I'm still taking a whole bunch of damage from all the cold while I'm down there. And a lot of enemies love to group up. So we want to use most of the super shotgun on the pinkies. The super shotgun, it only uses 2 shells compared to the regular shotgun, but it does roughly 3 times the damage because it fires roughly 3 times as many pellets. So it does a lot of damage to the point where it's equivalent with the average rocket. So you get a lot of mileage using the super shotgun.
And the Doom 64 Super Shotgun's even better than the one in Doom 2.
It is.
It fires faster.
Just a smidge faster.
As if it needed to be more overpowered.
God, it is the best weapon. It is such a workhorse in this run. And just in casual play, too. Get another couple of bullet racks. Yeah, you do see these vulnerability spheres on the side here, but we want to hold those out until later on, because there are some very dangerous waves towards the very end, and we can just kind of tank right through them if we have just a little bit of invulnerability to save onto it. And there's enough other supplies to work with to refill health and armor until we get to that point.
They're making me a little nervous. 52 health.
It's fine. No, there's also a bunch of soul spheres in the corner where we hit that other secret switch for the Megasphere, which we still haven't picked up yet. So now's probably a good time to go and do that while I have. I need to pick up bullets anyways, so we'll go ahead and pick up this Megasphere now. So this does reset my protection to green armor, or blue armor protection. Oh, I actually already picked up all the bullets here. Okay. So that's fine. So
who needs them anyway?
Who needs them? But yeah, more and more Hell Knights spawn in, more Cacodemons spawn in, so this is where controlling the space is really important. Pick up some extra shells.
This is usually when people start getting scared if they're going to make it or not. That's what I like about this set. There's a few maps like this that I'll point out where I notice players starting getting scared, and that's what I like about Doom 64, the creepiness and just forcing players to be nervous.
Yeah, it's great. Alrighty, so now is probably a good time to go ahead and get those other rockets that we left behind. We're getting to that point, so we'll take the invulnerability down with us. We can also pick up an extra soul sphere from the cache in a bit. Just pick up these rockets here. I'm going to save just in case something silly happens. This is, like I said, this is a long map, so there's no reason to sit through more auto scrollers. So we're gonna go for that one over there. Or we just hit the switch. So the last wave that we're looking out for is the Pain Elemental wave. When the Pain Elemental spawn, that's roughly when we're gonna finish the map and the exit finally opens. So we're just gonna keep our eyes peeled.
The Pain Elementals are particularly dangerous in Doom 64 because they spawn 2 Lost Souls at once, and these are the fast, very aggressive Doom 64 Lost Souls. And you can't spawn block them either because they'll explode and cause rocket damage in your face, and you'll die.
Yeah, they are the worst in that regard. So we're finally out of there. So we go from a long level back into another short level. So this is Sickly Symmetry. So this is a neat gimmick.
Is a blink and you'll miss it map.
Yeah, so you're supposed to find the specific enemy that's different from the rest and kill that one, and that progresses to the next wave. So if you know where to go, this is a very, very short map, especially since there is a secret invulnerability that we can grab right here that makes the combat very trivial. So we just need to kill this Baron right here, so that's the last of these enemy waves. Just need to hit 2 switches on the side and leave the map, and hopefully we'll get out before the invulnerability runs out. Those Arachnotrons really trying hard to block me here.
Yeah, this is Strafe running down the hall.
All right, Mercurial Minion. So this is actually, I feel like, one of your more normal maps in the WoD.
It is. Yeah, it's also one of my favorites, which is unusual for me because it doesn't have a really strong gimmick. But yeah, it's just kind of like a siege on a big hell fortress. It does have those friendly Marines again, but that's more or less the only gimmick it has going for it.
Look at that sprite work. Well, let's appreciate that sprite work. And you don't even get to see them normally because like we said at the very beginning of the run, you would normally only see them in the title intro screen in base 64. So it's nice to be able to just kind of have a nice good look at them. So this is another waiting sequence right here. We're just going to let them fight for a bit. We'll clear up some stragglers, but the passageway will open after a little bit of time.
Unlike classic Doom, the Doom 64 guy has an antenna, so he has big antenna energy.
So you're saying he's remote controlled?
That's a hint to a secret map that we didn't get to.
That one's really cool. Like, most of the secret maps in this are really neat. I unfortunately do not like roll the dice, so I'm glad we're not playing it here.
Roll the dice can either be really fun or miserable.
I had debated going there because you get an Unmaker key, but it ended up just not being worth it.
This is a little skip where you kind of go behind where you're intended to go, and so the wall's lower just as a failsafe, so you can't soft lock in there, which skips, I don't know.
It saves 1 second when I timed it out.
Is it 1 second?
1 second, but it's still worth it. So, and it looks cool, so we have to go for it. So a lot of this map is just really slipping in and around enemy waves. There's just a lot of enemies and a lot of chances to get blocked like that. So hopefully we're not going to get blocked right here. There's a whole bunch of Hell Knights that show up. Going to use the BFG to kind of blow our way into this room. Hit the switch that lowers the teleporter that we can use to get out. And then hopefully we're not going to get blocked by a whole bunch of Cacodemons. All right, good. Oh no. That was nasty.
That was.
Yeah, it's okay. So there's a soul sphere right here, so it's fine. But I do want to pick up a whole bunch of rockets because I do need a bunch of rockets for later, this and the next map before we end the episode. There are a whole bunch of Marines here, so hopefully they're going to do a bunch of infighting and stay out of my way because their hit scan attacks are incredibly rapid. Like, they are even more dangerous than shotgunners in this game, which says a lot.
Yeah, they're almost on the level of chain gunners in a way.
Okay, get past this panel elemental, hopefully. Out of my way, please. Thank you. Couple more boxes of rockets. And now we go to the last part of the map here. I like how we can actually open this door all the way from below. We have just enough room to do that.
Kick the wall and the door opens.
Kick it from all the way below. Well, you know, like, if you've seen base Doom 64 runs and watched me do them, you know we have booty grab and we pick up keys off of top shelves. This is just an extension of that. His arms are just really long.
He's Stretch Armstrong.
Stretch Armstrong. Oh no, the Marines are pissed at me. I need to kill one of them. Two of them, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, they're still finicky.
Yeah, so you can actually spawn more Marines right here using these switches in the middle, which is a pretty neat little gimmick. We just need to survive a few waves. So there's an Arachnotron wave right here. And then after that, we're actually going to do a very important spawn block, because we're actually going to spawn block a Mother Demon from showing up. And it's amazing that this trick actually works. So I'm going to stand right here. We're going to wait for, I'm going to fire, I think 30 bullets should be good. The timing and everything.
Yeah, that's going to be a timer.
So we're just going to wait for a bit.
Pistol timer.
So that should be good, hopefully. So there should be a panel elemental on this side. Yep. So we managed to spot a Mother Demon.
Nice.
We don't have to kill that. So we can just leave immediately after killing that.
Time it out and save a mom.
Yep, save mom. So this is the Infinity Gauntlet. This is the last level in episode 2. So we have to kill these 2 cyber demons. We're going to just kind of circle around. So we're going to do a very risky strat. We're going to use rockets for a bit to soften them, and then we're going to kill them with the BFG if possible. So the BFG has 2 components to its damage. There's the big giant green ball, which does a little bit of damage, and then when you manage to connect with a shot, a bunch of invisible tracers shoot from Doom Guy's current position at the angle the ball was fired at. I accidentally missed right there. So basically what that means is you want to just hit the enemy as hard as possible by looking at it. And unfortunately, I'm not getting good shots. This is my fault, but it's tough to line this up. He did not die.
This is a terrifying strat.
Yeah, this is an extremely difficult strat. That other cyber really does need to die. I do want the Megasphere that's on its pedestal, so we're just going to kind of shotgun him out. I'm going to just do this safely.
That one had Wheaties for breakfast.
Oh my goodness, yes he did. Unfortunately, we have a whole bunch of pain elementals still spawning more lost souls and being a pain in the butt, so this might get a little dicey here.
Yeah, the longer you take in this map, the harder it gets.
I'm going to soften them up just a little bit more, and then we'll go for the other BFG shot here. Oh, please get out of the way. I don't want to be trapped by a rocket. I'm blocked.
Those lost souls is getting dumped on you.
Okay, you know what? Yeah, let's do this. Okay, there we go. Now we just have to leave without exploding. So we're going to fall down this shaft all the way to the bottom. And we explode. And that's the end of that map.
All right.
So we will read the cutscene real quick, and then we will take a break. So, the demonic realm smolders around you, and not just because of the hellfire. The underworld lies in ruin. One final portal beckons to you enigmatically. What could be worse than hell itself? And with that, let's go ahead and cut to break for now.
We will find out what could be worse than hell itself in just a few minutes. Yes, we will take a quick wellness break. This is a great time for you all watching to stretch your legs, get some water. Real quick, before we take said break, I want to thank everyone who is supporting GDQ Hotfix with your subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, and bits. Your contributions help keep our shows running. So if you're enjoying the stream, if you enjoy the speedrun and speedrun adjacent content, please consider subscribing for exclusive emotes, ad-free viewing, and access to our chat during our replays. And of course, you can always support the stream for free simply by sharing the Games Done Quick channel with your friends, and by sticking around for the rest of this Doom 64 The Unmaking run right after this quick break. thank you all for sticking around through the break. You are watching Parallel Universe on GDQ Hotfix, the show about community-created content. I am here with Zelo, who has just finished up the first 2 episodes of Doom 64, The Unmaking. And I've heard that the 3rd episode is over half of the run, so let's get back into it. Zelo, take it away.
Yes, absolutely. So we'll get started and leave this cutscene in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so we are now in the depths of past hell. This is Do Not Wake Mother. So go ahead and explain this one, because this is a really out there concept that took me a while to like really figure out how to do without screwing up.
This is definitely one of the weirder maps in the bunch. Although this episode gets weirder than the others. This one, yeah. So there's 4 mother demons in this map. Oh wait, there are 3. 3 or 4.
I already screwed up.
The goal is to not wake the mother demons. So you've got a bunch of switches that you have to hit to close doors, which in Doom closes off sound propagation. So in order to hit the shootable switches, which would normally wake up monsters that are within earshot, you have to close the doors first, and then you can hit the switches to proceed. So, like, for example, that switch that Zelo just hit closes the door.
Oh my goodness, that one too. I thought that door closed all the way.
Was that too soon?
That really was too soon. I thought that one was fine that time. Like, the first time was completely on me. I'm like, I'm going to shoot the switch while he talks, and I didn't think about it. I thought the door was actually all the way closed that time. So, 3rd time's the charm, right? I will save just to make sure that doesn't happen again.
If you do wake up the mother demons, they will all show up in the climactic fight, and it is insurmountable. Unless you
don't want it to happen.
Potentially, we were just talking about a potential skip where you can boost. You can use the mother demon's fire to boost up onto the teleport. But
so you're going to see that a couple more times. So it's a really cool puzzle level because you're figuring out how to reach these switches to close the walls, because the walls themselves are on timers and they only stay shut for a certain amount of time. It's also really notable that every time we hit these like little switches in these central areas, this is actually a different room that we just very quickly warp to. So this is actually a surprisingly large map.
Yeah, I forced you into those narrow little spaces so I could do a silent teleport, hopefully without you noticing. It's not.
Oh, nice! Got all the way on top. That's a hard jump to make right there.
Nice.
All right, so we're also gonna pick up this cell pack right here. Cells are very good because we're actually gonna start using the Unmaker with this map. The Unmaker gets more power with demon keys, and we will actually be picking up one of those in this level because we're gonna power up the Unmaker with mostly 2 keys for most of the rest of the run, and that is going to be our best weapon by far. So the first demon key is in this little corridor. If we jump off this ledge, we find this little hidden secret, and we grab the first artifact right there. So that powers up our Unmaker to where it normally fires once every 8 ticks, and this game runs at 30 ticks per second. So it's normally very slow. That first key upgrades it to where it fires, I believe, every 5 ticks. So it's a significant power upgrade. Oh, that's... Okay, hold on. I should be able to still get this in time, I hope. I wasn't supposed to fall down there. We're going to see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and save just in case. I'm going to just go ahead and hit the switch now. Normally, I would hit the elevator, because you can have the elevator active and then hit the switch since the elevator's not tied to a macro. But I just want to be sure I got out of time. So this brings us to the last part of the map where we're in the red room. So we're going to pick up an Unmaker and do a whole bunch of fighting. And I do need to conserve health because the reason I went out of the way for a green armor earlier is because I need to preserve health for the next level because we're going to be taking poison damage, most likely. So we're going to save in between every wave, make sure our health is nice and high. We also get introduced to the nightmare versions of monsters for the first time. So they have a bit more health.
Oh yeah, Immorpher, do you want to explain... Oh, sorry.
No, we can talk about it after this map. So this map right here coming up is a giant race. Yeah, so this is going nowhere fast. So we're actually going to do a very fast maze. So you're on a timer once you enter this maze. So we're going to try and get a whole bunch of useful items and still reach the end of the maze before we are forced teleported back. So this is pretty tight, and we need good movement here. So gonna grab these hidden cells right there. See, we're taking damage across the magenta lava here. So that's why we want a whole bunch of health. Should be okay here. Just grab another Unmaker, hit the switch, and we're good. And we have to utilize the teleport to avoid this trap where the Cyber Demon is. So this is a good time to talk about what the Nightmare properties and everything else you all want to talk about.
Yeah, so the Nightmare enemies are, one, you get
So
that
the
nice
Immorpher still there?
radioactive green glow on them. But also they have double the health on them as well.
Yeah, and that property can be applied to, I believe, any monster you want. And we will see that with even boss enemies. So they are very scary.
They can be
I
applied
have just enough health to start list level.
Candles, barrels.
I didn't know they could be applied to barrels and candles. That's interesting to think about.
Pickups, health items, name it, anything that's a thing.
All right, Monuments to the Cement God.
with it.
Wow. All right, so we're going to be using a lot of Unmaker here. This is a very scary level to survive. It has a lot of scripts. There are some tiny skips in this level, but for the most part, it's just going to be dodging enemies and waiting out a bunch of scripts. This next fight especially is really scary to deal with. I'm going to blow her up because you have this Mancubus right here, 2 Hell Knights show up, and then you also try and get boxed in by some Arachnotrons at the very end. But hey, look at that. We actually have Hell Knight attacking the other Hell Knight. So there's a very interesting quirk with barrels. And if enemies manage to explode barrels off, then they can think other enemies actually damage them, even though it was the barrels that damaged them. So we actually had 2 Hell Knights fighting each other, which is normally not possible. So
No.
chalk that up again to that's never happened before.
Sorry, I think our that's never happened before counter's at 3 now.
Like, I think I've seen that happen like in other instances, but never there. So that's definitely a new one for me. I had to not freak out when I saw it, like, oh my goodness. All right, so this is a whole bunch of waiting here. So there are several Nightmare Hell Knights that we're just kind of trying to lure around. And the middle slowly like disappears over time. So you can see that Hell Knight is actually in a bad spot because it tried to cross between 2 sections when one was lowering. So it's just kind of just stuck in the walking animation, which is funny to see, just kind of floating. But there is a skip here that we're going to do. So I need to keep track of the portals. There's 2 portals on the walls here. There's an orange one on the right. That's going to be our exit. Now, when we get to a certain wave, this floor starts lowering all around. We're going to jump straight into that orange portal and be able to just skip a huge fight, which normally would give me a super shotgun, which would be helpful, but it's more important to just leave this area intact because we can get another super shotgun later. This is not good. All right, hopefully this should be lowering in just a second here. And, okay, managed to make it over. So we skip a huge fight that would be very difficult to deal with. So let's go talk a little bit about, like, the geometry of this room, because I think this is a really neat, like, mashing together of pieces in this structure.
This is, there's a thing that we do in Doom mapping where we limit the number of line defs that we're allowed to use in a map. So, like, each of the walls is a line. Every, like, door is a series of lines. So this map is 4 separate islands that each one is limited to 100 line defs, which ends up making them look really angled and weird like this.
Oh my goodness. I keep bonking my head and enemies keep blasting me. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it. So each of the islands has to be like super stripped down detail-wise, and just to fit playable space in, you end up with these like triangular sectors and stuff.
Yeah.
To save on line devs.
They're really neat, but this also makes it a bit difficult to navigate because there's just a lot of tricky jumps that we need to make, and it's very easy to get stuck in corners in this game. So I would like to skip fighting these, but I actually have to come through this area later, and I've actually found that the Mancubi can actually stop the next script from fully activating. So we just go ahead and deal with them now. So we still have to escape at the top. This area is just jam-packed with enemies. It's very easy to get caught. Oh my goodness, this is not a good health situation. I am at 1 health, the only health that matters. We're gonna try and make this work. No, this is not gonna work. I am very stuck. That's not happening. Okay. We're just gonna have to lure enemies away for a bit, so we're gonna just kind of run to the corner. So enemies tend to try and move to where you are. Like, they move randomly, but they try and move towards your current position. So we can kind of manipulate positions here with that. So just barely managed to survive that. We're going to grab this hidden mega armor, grab a little bit of extra health to make sure we survive okay. And then once we get out of this, we're pretty much home free because the next area is pretty easy, thankfully. So just get in the portal here. So there's a bunch of cells, a bunch of med kits. We did start getting into more fights with nightmare enemies here. Like, nightmare arachnotrons fire incredibly fast sets of plasma bolts, so they're pretty dangerous if you don't go for them.
Nightmare enemies, the shots are usually faster, harder to dodge too.
Okay, this is just a bunch of fights here, so we're going to block one Nightmare Cacodemon when the platform raises.
Yeah, the Nightmare Cacodemons are some of the worst, I think, because they're also some of the hardest nightmare enemies to see.
While you're working on that fight, I want to quickly shout out PAX West. That's right, we are returning to PAX West August 29th through September 1st, and you can visit gdq.gg/PAX West to check out the schedule. And to learn more about the event, you can go to west.paxsite.com. Please check out our schedule. It's fantastic. I'm very, very excited for this. And that's coming up in just a couple of weeks, kind of sneaking up on me. So yeah, keep an eye out for PAX West on the Games Done Quick channel, August 29th through September 1st.
All right, we're going to spawn block one Mancubus from showing up and kill the other, and that will get us to the exit portal. Oh, nope, I actually was a little too far forward there, so we're gonna have to fight him. This is actually a little scary because I saw a Cacodemon also follow me from the other island. So we're gonna have to deal with him too. Also, get used to hearing this sound effect. The Unmaker is very loud. Pew, pew, pew. And you're just gonna have to deal with very pew pew pew.
At least it gets some play as opposed to base Doom 64.
Yeah, like in a run of this that's not a max category, you would not be using the Unmaker at all because it's on par with the Plasma, which in itself is also not very good. All right, so this is a nice little breather map right here. So we have these like little switch puzzles to deal with. We're only going to be doing 2 of the 3 intended switch puzzles because there's actually a developer intended secret for this last one, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, each of these is, there's 3 to get the 3 keys. You have to raise the platforms so that they're all level and you can progress to the next little alcove. But I figured that some players wouldn't want to do that. So, you know, put them through the first 2 of those puzzles because they're not too hard. And then the third one that's actually pretty tricky if you're not that great at pattern recognition. There is an intended secret, which you will see coming up here, where you could just totally circumvent the puzzle. Just say, I don't feel like doing it.
Yep. So it actually ends up being quite a bit faster to do it anyways because we skip a nice little sector here because that last sector is pretty long normally. So we're going to get this key, go through the red door. So there's a hidden switch that's going to be on our left. We need to hit it with anything that's hit scan. And interestingly enough, the Unmaker, despite firing lasers, is a hit scan weapon. The lasers are just there for decorative effect. So hitting that hidden switch right there lowers the teleporter, which gets us to another switch that allows us to get the soul sphere, but also allows us to grab the yellow key much earlier. And with that, we can just go straight to the end of the level here. And into one of, I think, the longest level in the run, Prismatic Gloria is coming up next.
Oh, and I should maybe warn you, if you're in a dark room, this next map is going to be bright.
It's going to be very bright. And you're going to see a lot of it that way. This is the longest map in the run, I think. Yeah, you're going to see a lot of this. This is the central hub, and there's going to be 6 other areas that we're going to weave in and out of here.
Yeah, when
This
There is a lot of fighting.
might be a more for story time.
Yeah, go ahead, Immorpher.
when Scwiba was working on the unmaking, we're trying to figure out if we could even load custom textures into the remaster, and the one he sent was just a white texture. And I was like, okay. I was like, oh, what's he going to do with this? That's going to be something cool. And then this is what came out of it. This map is only one texture used.
The cool thing about Doom 64 is that you can do so much with the lighting system. So, and it's actually in Doom Builder, which is the program that we use to make maps, there's a setting where you can turn off the textures and just see the colored lighting. And I kept hitting that button and thinking, wow, this looks really cool. And then I just figured, why not make a whole map that looks like that?
There's the blue portal. I have to remember which order. This order is very important right here, because we do need to get some items in specific times. So we have just a lot of scripted fights here. We're going to get rid of these Nightmare Arachnotrons because this room gets very cluttered if you leave them alive, to where it's just worth, even though it's a timed map, we just want to just get them out of the way. So we're going to dance around for a bit. There's going to be one more Nightmare Arachnotron that shows up at the top. And then after that, we're going to wait around. We will pick up a backpack in this room, so it takes a little bit of time to get, but the backpack will double our ammo capacity for the rest of the run, because we're going to carry that to the end of the game. And being able to carry 600 cells is incredibly useful, so it's worth like the 15 seconds it takes to go pick it up.
And classic.
And if you're wondering what's up with this sky, this is an Immorpher creation.
I love this guy so much. I don't know
It's
what's
so
yours.
good.
Yeah, this third episode, it starts using my skies more often, and a lot of it was just discoveries that I could overlay transparency things over other transparency things in this remaster engine, and I was just experimenting to see how far I can go with the effects.
Yeah, y'all come up with some really creative effects. Like, this is like really pushing the Doom 64 engine to its limits with what you guys did with the SWAD.
And this sky was not made for this map either. It just it was a happy little accident. It was such a perfect sky. As soon as I saw it, I knew it needed to be.
Yeah, I just got on a kick one day, and I was like, okay, what can I do with these skies? And I just started experimenting, and that was one of them.
Turned out really well. And I feel like Happy Little Accidents is just kind of just custom game making in general.
Oh, sure.
And another fact which makes this map possible is, so Scwiba mentioned about the color lighting. So in Doom 1 and Doom 2, each sector or area has one setting for brightness. While Doom 64 has, instead of just one setting for brightness, it has 5 color options. And so you can color the floor any color you want. You can color the ceiling any color you want. So that's why you have these pink floors and these yellow ceilings without even having to change the texture, which worked well for the Nintendo 64 because you could color textures, various colors, without increasing your ROM size or cart size.
Yeah, this Starburst room, I think this is my favorite room out of the 6 areas in this map, just because it's just so trippy looking. Like, this whole level really is a trippy looking map, but it just looks cool, and it's just, sometimes less really is more.
This is actually like a leftover, sort of just an experiment at shapes that I was messing around with. I didn't know what to do with it, so I slapped it in this map.
Uh-oh, I'm in the poison. And the Mancubus is on the loose, so we're gonna need to deal with him. Uh-oh, that's actually bad. I don't know the last time I saved.
It's thinking.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so I'm a couple rooms back, so we're gonna have to sit through the, previous room again. Ugh, that's really unfortunate. So yeah, that's a big time loss right there, because as we've said, there's a lot of waiting around in these rooms, and you're just not going to be able to do anything other than wait. So we get to sit through this room again. So I'm going to be a little bit more careful with saving from this point forward.
We can admire the colors.
But hey, you get to look at this. Yeah, you get to see this again. It's great. It's worth it. It's the content.
This is a very pretty map, so I don't mind.
Yeah, well, Scwiba was talking about before when we used to have to mod the remaster, and he was trying to remember how we did it. And if you've ever played hacks of Nintendo games or Genesis games, anything that's a ROM, you have ROM patches. And so what we used to have to do is we used to do basically a ROM patch, but we did it on the game asset files. And we used to have to patch in our custom maps and custom textures to get them to load on the remaster. Night Dive's seen this, and they're like, oh guys, we don't want you guys to work that hard. So then they made it so we can just load files into the game instead of having to patch them. So they made our lives much easier. So shout out to Kaiser, who pretty much, the Doom 64 community was built on his shoulders, and Night Dive for making it easier for us modders.
Yeah, while I circle around for that backpack that I managed to miss, big shout outs to Kaiser and Night Dive, because Night Dive does a lot of really good porting work for older games, and Kaiser in particular was the main force for Doom 64, not just at the remaster, but in the years before then. If it wasn't for him, we pretty much wouldn't have modern Doom 64, because he came up with so much stuff in the years leading up to working at Night Dive, so big shout outs to him.
Yeah, Kaiser.
And like I said, like being able to patch the game files in a much easier way now is just so much better. It's literally just here's a batch script. Just click on that and everything is patched. You're done playing, click on the uninstall batch script and everything's back to normal. It's so good.
And Kaiser was the first one to win a CAC award for Doom 64 back in 2002 or 2003 for the Absolution port to the PC. Then it was Squiba's UnMaking was the second one, like 20 years later, to win a CAC award at Doom World. So we're making a loop.
Yeah, anybody who doesn't know what the CAC Awards are, it's the kind of annual fun little reward show where we did the community reviews all the content made that year, gives shout outs. It's just a fun thing, and it's just a good way to be able to showcase all the great custom content that comes out for this game, even well over 30 years after Doom 1. I'm going to save now just so that I don't have another situation happen. Because now the cacodemons are on the loose, so we're just gonna keep avoiding them. When the Mancubus shows up, that's when we're getting close to the end of the wave. So he's like our cue, but I don't want to get knocked off the Starburst again. That would be very sad. I'm just gonna pick up some rockets in the meantime.
Funny enough, a map like this could run on the Nintendo 64, especially since the texture cache is so low for a map like this. But they made more capabilities of the engine than they knew at the time.
Yeah, it's amazing how well this game runs. You've actually gotten some custom content to run on console, haven't you?
Yes, and we're going to eventually have a Megawad that will run on the N64 and Sega Dreamcast, believe it or not, but not finished yet.
Yeah, big shout outs to Jay and Martin.
Close, though.
That's exciting.
Yeah, big shout outs to Jay and Martin for did a full Dreamcast port, really, really good port. All right, so that's 3 of the rooms down. So no, after this imp encounter, we're gonna have another batch of 3. So we're gonna go to the Cathedral next, which I think outside of the Starburst is my favorite. It's just so foreboding, just looking at the building and then just getting trapped by everything else. So we're gonna go here. We're gonna start the script. We're gonna pick up the Berserk, and this is gonna be a lot of just infighting and watching enemies eat each other. So there's a quirk with infighting in this game where enemies, if they haven't been hit by you yet, that's when they'll usually try, if they get hit by something else and they haven't already been hit by you, they'll switch their target to that enemy that hit them. But if you've already hit them, then even if they get hit by something else, they usually will not switch targets, and they'll just keep trying to attack you. So this is a lot of just pacifist play for now, as we just kind of let the fireballs from the imps deal with the pinkies, and then later on we'll have some Mancubi and Hell Knights in play as well. That kind of gives us some variety of the enemies targeting each other, even though we get less and less space to work with, because all of these red sectors are damaging floors.
Packed in like a sardine.
Oh man, we already went through Sardine Packing Plant. I don't need to go through it again.
I'm losing my memory.
Aren't we all at this point? So this is a lot of waiting. I believe this is just another set of time scripts. I don't think this one's tied to like any of the enemies you have to fight on the last wave.
No, it is timed. You're just waiting for that floor in the middle, right inside the door, to turn white, and then you can leave. It has nothing to do with which enemies are killed or anything, unfortunately.
So thankfully there's a bunch of shells, so we can clear out a few enemies that kind of get close. Like I said, we would just want to be very careful of where we're shooting so that we don't accidentally damage an enemy that we wouldn't want to try and kill. We want to just have as much infighting as possible, just keep everything distracted.
Yeah, unfortunately with these solid textures, the nightmare enemies show up a bit better. Sometimes on the normal texture maps, they kind of hide and stealthy.
Yeah, like especially the white room. The Lothals are incredibly difficult to see in the white area, which just makes for an interesting challenge. So there's actually a little bit of a strat in that room where I actually try and move away from them as much as possible in a certain way, and you can use like the darker areas of the rooms towards the top to get more light towards them.
Oh yeah.
It's not something. Yeah, it's not something that you'll really see much of, but it's just something that helps me a lot.
So fun fact with nightmare enemies. So we already have nightmare imps, but you can put a nightmare flag on them to make them doubly nightmare, and there's always been debate of what we should call those.
Okay, we should be getting pretty close to the end of this. Shouldn't be more than like another minute. Thankfully, enemies have actually cooperated really well, doing a lot of infighting. There we go.
Good to go.
Yeah, good to go. Nice. All right, so next we're going to do the Dark Forest. So this is where the darkness really works against me. So I'm going to kind of be squinting while I need to pick up this chainsaw first to start the script. But we're going to just kind of be squinting and just kind of snipe out these shotgunners, because there's a bunch of shotgunners that spawn, and they can hit me from way far out. So I want to stay far away just because shotgunners, their shotgun shots, they fire 3 pellets at a time, and if you're at point blank range, all 3 of them are going to hit you, whereas if you're farther out, they tend to spread, so you tend to not get hit as badly. I also am going to keep track of where I am in the room, because there is an invulnerability sphere in this room that we're not going to use on this encounter, but on the next room coming up, because there is a Nightmare Cyber Demon that we have to deal with. And I would really prefer not to fight the Nightmare Cyber Demon head on.
No, that's like 100 rocket shots.
So there's the invulnerability. So this also is a good place to keep track of where I am in the room, because the exit spawns in a very specific way, position. So we're just going to be keeping track of all that so that we can grab the invulnerability and run out.
You can see that invulnerability has the nightmare flag on it. That's why it's invisible like that.
Oh yeah, it does. All right. Cacodemons. Oh, something's behind me.
This cyber demon that's coming up is really your muscle memory. If you're used to dodging cyber demon rockets, the pace of that, a nightmare cyber demon is so much worse, because the rockets are twice as fast. They will get you before you even know they've been shot.
Yeah,
it's wild.
And they're hard to see too because of the nightmare property, so you just kind of get blasted halfway across if you're not ready for them. So thankfully we have the BFG. We're just going to slam our face into it several times. Should be able to do it in 4, maybe 5 shots.
There you go.
Okay, didn't. So this is good because I do want to preserve this invulnerability for a little bit here and do it on this very last fight, because we have several pain elementals to deal with here. Now, thankfully, we have a ton of cells to work with, so we're just going to just face plant as many as we can.
It does really help to have the backpack here too that you picked up earlier.
Where is the last? I have an enemy somewhere. There he is. Okay, that should be everything.
Bowling him
Just
down.
cross this exit, and that ends the level. And you can actually skip the line def by accident and fall down. And I've had that happen in a run. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know I could actually fall down there.
Get soft locked.
I thought I fixed that bug.
I had that happen at one point. Anyways, this is Flotsam and an Astral Stee. And this is interesting because this is the only map that actually changed between revisions. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's still a little bit weird to see it load up after Prismatigoria, because I'm still used to the old map that was here. And there was nothing wrong with the old map, but it was sort of another big arena fight, and I was like, it's too many of these here. I didn't like the series of very similar maps all next to each other, so I thought, okay, I'm just gonna make a big, like, non-linear, crazy. Actually, this map is as big as I could possibly make it. One more line def, I think, in this map, and Doom 64 just breaks.
Yeah, since then we.
Yeah, because it is so big. Like, I'm going to save right now. That delay is how big the map is. So we're actually doing something. We're actually going out of our way to get another demon key. Also, shout outs to Zoya and Stepsky, two of our great community members. So we get the second demon key to upgrade our Unmaker further. We also pick up the Mega Sphere because there is something very important. We're actually going to do a huge skip. This is normally a very big map, and we're going to skip basically all of it. So
Yeah, we're not going to see any of it.
yeah. So there's a trap at the end where if you don't have the red key, a whole bunch of darts fire to stop you from getting to the exit. But if we do this in a very specific way with 200 health and 200 armor, there is a chance that we can actually get to the end. I have to take the minimum amount of darts right here, so this is a little tricky with the timing, especially since there's another line def on the floor. I'm getting really bad luck, so I'm gonna have to fire the Unmaker a bit to change the RNG, so the RNG changes every frame and whenever it needs to be updated. So hopefully we're gonna get less damage here. And we just barely survive with 2 health. So this allows us to get in here and skip what is probably, I think, a 6-minute level normally. It's really cool, but it's really long, so. How many demons can dance? A lot.
A lot.
So Hidden Megasphere thankfully tops us back off, and we're just going to be doing a lot of fighting here.
I think this is the loudest the Unmaker gets because of the echo in this map too.
Oh, it is very loud.
Yeah, this is just a big slaughter map, and it has an extra level of difficulty where if you fall off of this platform, you're just dead immediately.
Yeah, you just kind of splat, unfortunately. So I'm going to be very careful to not have that happen. So we're going to try and control the space here by getting rid of enemies that spawn on these pedestals. So we're just going to get rid of the Mancubi first. We'll clean up the pinkies as we go. So the first 3 waves, we need to kill everything, because that's what makes the switches in the middle spawn to trigger the next wave. The final wave, all we need to do is just survive for a certain amount of time. But yeah, like Scwiba said, this is the loudest the Unmaker is going to get, so I'm sorry to everyone's eardrums. Please turn the volume down if needed. Pew, pew, pew.
In my defense, this was intended mostly to be a BFG slaughter map.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised that you used the Unmaker. I thought the BFG would be faster.
So there's so much delay of firing shots and where the tracers go, especially since there's a lot of pinkies on this map. So it actually ends up being very efficient cell-wise and aiming-wise to be able to just aim for these groups and minimize the risk by being certain distances away. Because it's a lot easier to aim and just fire an Unmaker over and over than it is to worry about your positioning and angle with the BFG and risk stepping into several fireballs on the way.
Yeah, wouldn't we?
So maybe it could possibly be like strictly faster if you get perfect luck anywhere, but as Doom players know, there's no way to get perfect luck everywhere. That never happens.
There's no such thing.
Yeah, when we first poured this map to the remaster, the under-bridge decorations would not work. And eventually we learned the quirks of making those things show up again. But I'm glad that they're finally back.
You know what I'm glad about is the sky. This used to just be kind of a boring, starry background. And this is another Immorpher banger of a sky
Yeah.
that I think completely changes the vibe of the whole map.
I think so too, because the old Starry Sky was too similar to the last one with Flotsam International Sea's old version, but like the new sky just looks so much nicer, especially with the orange glow, just kind of brightening the map up. I am getting beat up hard, by the way. This is actually a little scary. I only need to survive, but it's kind of hard to survive when you have 5 billion fireballs being thrown at you.
I thought you were going to go off the edge there.
I thought I was about to too. So we're just going to use the pillar to our advantage here and take some cover.
There we go. Health is getting back up.
There is some stuff in the middle that we're going to grab, so we're just going to grab this now. And the exit will open up hopefully soon. Hopefully don't have to wait too long. There it is. And we're out.
GG.
Thank you.
Yeah, for real. That's a tough map.
This map is for all the Texans out there.
That's me. This is Remember the Hellibo. I really like the concept of this because you basically have this giant structure and you're playing tower defense for about another 8 minutes, but the pieces of the walls break away between each wave and you get less and less cover. So it ends up being quite tricky if you don't have a double unmaker like I do. And I really do like the concept because it breaks it up enough from the previous map.
Yeah, even though the BFG can do technically more damage per second than the Unmaker does more damage per ammo, and especially when you get the triple Unmaker, you can pain lock enemies so they become your shields, and it can become a much safer weapon than the BFG. It's almost like a cheat code.
Yeah, and we'll get to see the triple Unmaker in the final level because there are 3 demon keys that we'll be picking up on the last level. Funny enough, despite this being an auto-scroll, there is a big skip at the very end of the level that we'll talk about a bit later. But first, let's talk about these ammo packs. Like, how many cell packs are actually stacked on top of each other? Because I know it's a lot, but I don't know the exact number.
Is it 20? I've never really looked since I made the map, like, what was that, 5 years ago? I'm pretty sure it's 20, but I could be wrong.
So that ties into the ammo management. So because there's 20 of everything, we just want to pick up our cell packs, the large cell packs, when we're like close to a multiple of 100. That way we're not wasting extra ammo because we do have a lot to work with, but we could run out if we're not careful with when we pick everything up. So thankfully with the backpack, we can store 600 cells at a time, so we can just clear waves out, go back as needed, and then fill up and finish off these waves. So we've got a Imp and a Lost Soul wave right here. There's one. That one got pinned by fireballs. Nice job, guys. There are surprisingly a couple of secrets in this map, despite it being a tower defense. There's a hidden soul sphere and an armor that we'll pick up near the end, because I want to carry that into a later level. And then there will be an invulnerability, which does tie into the big skip for this level. But otherwise, this is mostly just waiting around, fighting demon waves off, and we've still got several waves. So if there's anything y'all want to talk about, this is like perfect time.
Well, there's several, like, oh, sorry. Helix, you want to?
No, go on. I can jump in whenever.
Well, I think what Zila was alluding to is that there's several episodes in loose terms in this WAD, and each one ends with a death exit, which in Doom is when you kill the player really quickly and then end the level so that they start the next level with none of their gear that they had. And that's how I kind of begin each of the new episodes. This map is supposed to end with a death exit, but if you grab the invulnerability and then perform the skip that we're going to see, it means that you don't die at the end. So you get to keep all of this stuff. So it not only does it skip a bunch of time at the end of this map, but it means you begin the next map with way more gear than you're supposed to. So I think it saves time there as well.
Yeah, it saves a significant amount of time, because otherwise we would have to get back our 2 demon keys that we picked up earlier. And in that one map where you can get them, it takes a long time to get them. So the skip saves a lot of time.
I'm going to take a moment here and shout out Frame Fatales, GDQ's all-women and femme speedrun community. They are preparing for their next event right now. Flame Fatales are running September 7th through 14th, so that's coming up in less than a month. The schedule is now live at gamesdonequick.com/schedule/58. You You can type !FF in the chat for more information on how to join the Discord and stay up to date with all things Frame Fatales.
Yes, thank you, Helix. Like, please go see some of the Fatales because, like, go see all the Fatales you can. Watch as many as you can because it's a great schedule.
Really good.
It's really good. All right, so we got double Cyber Demon Wave here. So you can see like the lasers on the UnMaker not like showing, and that's because if there's no actual target, the lasers aren't going to actually be able to spawn. So this is actually good for me because we can determine where we're actually aiming for actually hitting a target. If you see the lasers shoot out, that means we are hitting a target. And if you don't, we're not hitting anything. So this is actually very critically important on the next wave, next couple waves really, because the Mancubi are very far away. And because of the wide angle at which they shoot their shots, it's very possible to run into those shots. So we're going to be very careful, just kind of slowly inching our way around and just watching them slowly come in and just snipe them off where we can. So there's only 2 waves left that we're going to do, and then we're going to be skipping the last wave with the skip.
Yeah, those Mancubi move so slow.
I think they are the slowest enemy in the game, aren't they? I'm not sure what's the slowest.
Yeah, that has to be slower than the zombie man. Yeah, you need to do a race.
It's really interesting thinking about the Cyber Demon because they made the Cyber Demon so much slower in 64. And this in PC Doom, it's like the 3rd fastest enemy or something. All right, so here comes the Mancubus wave. So you can see we're not getting a whole lot of cover at this point. So I'm just kind of keeping my eyes peeled. Oh boy. Yeah, like this is a really, really fun run despite the downtime, but it also is a much longer run than what I'm typically used to. Just for like time reference, this run is longer than the max, which is basically the 100% run of the main game, like
yes,
the base main game. And this is just the speed category. Like I had decided to try routing out max at some point, but that's going to be about a 4-hour run if I ever get finished. So
yeah,
be prepared.
When you submitted this, I was like, I've never seen a Doom 64 category this long.
Yeah. Oh, well, there are some other really great WADs to check out. Scwiba and Immorpher, if y'all know, y'all should dump some of the other great WADs that y'all have managed to work on and submitted to, because there's some really great stuff that I definitely don't even know about.
I guess one of the ones that came out before the UnMaking that kind of went under the radar because UnMaking wasn't released yet to get everyone noticed about it was called Beta 64, and that's another mega WAD. It's like Doom 64 Part 2. And then that has a remastered version to run on the Steam version where STID has updated its graphics, visuals, and things like that.
I honestly think Beta 64 is the best Doom 64 map set you will ever find.
It's definitely a very interesting one. I remember watching our good friend Wesley play that on stream, and it was definitely a very interesting watch.
Yeah, it has a map in it called Irradiated, which is like a precursor to when Hell freezes over in this map set, but Scwiba didn't know about it at the time, so they both kind of came up with similar ideas independently.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah, then
if any of you out there watching are Doom speedrunners or want to learn and want to, start speedrunning these WADs, this show, Parallel Universe, is all about mods and custom content and things like that. So I encourage you to go to gdq.gg/hotfix, and on that page you can find a link to submit your runs to Hotfix. So you can literally, if you learn one of these runs, you can submit it to this show.
I wasn't ready for this Mother Demon to spawn, so we're going to have to get in position here. So we're going to grab this invulnerability. So we're going to do the big skip. So normally this area is blocked off until we kill the Mother Demons, but the flame from the Mother Demons gives you a boost when you get hit. So with that, if we do this properly, we can just kind of hopefully launch into the exit here while we're still invincible. I am on a timer, so this is a little scary. please let me on there. There we go, right in there. So
Hole in one.
we actually
Hole in one.
hole in one. So because of that, we actually skip the death exit and we keep all of our gear. So just ahead lies a tiny oasis in the madness of this nightmare realm, a haven where the heroes of the unaligned campaigns are honored. Take a load off for a minute and share a drink with some of the folks without whom I would not have survived these last 4 years of map making. So this is just a nice little intermission map. This is actually what plays during the demo when loading this game. So you can kind of see the names on the floors, just the people that have helped Scwiba make all this stuff and just been support. But there's, funny enough, a very tiny skip here. You're normally supposed to get all 6 health potions to be able to reach this soul sphere. We're going to get onto this purple step, and we can just jump straight in from here and skip 2 of them.
Yeah, the Helices.
It's really funny that just such a short map actually has a skip. So this is the Void Dreams of Huge Guts. So normally we would be doing this from a pistol start, but thanks to the skip, we actually get to keep all of our gear, which is actually very crucial because the old route for this level, there are 3 demon keys in this level. And we would go out of our way to get 2 of them in the old route. But A, one of them was very difficult to get because I hate a certain jump. And B, it just takes a long time to do that. So thankfully the new route, we're just gonna grab just a few normal keys and leave. Because the gimmick here is that we only need to grab 1 key of each color, and then the central exit opens up to where we can get to the last fight.
I actually particularly enjoyed this map. I think I was one of the first ones to play test it because it reminds me of a scavenger hunt like Mario 64 or something like that. And I went and happily found all 6 keys. And Scoob was like, you didn't have to do that. I was like, well, I wanted to do it.
Yeah, it's interesting because the last Unmaker key actually is tied to grabbing all 6 of the normal keys. So you have to really do a lot of work in order to get everything in this map.
Scuba.
I kept toning down what is required to exit the map. It used to be that I think you did need all 6 keys, and then it was you need all of the key cards or all of the skull keys, and then I was just like, oh, okay, you just need 1 of every color, because this is definitely not people's favorite map, and it's a huge maze.
Yeah, it's a lot of walking around.
Will make it look like a joke, but it's very tough to navigate.
Yep, I'm actually going to grab the goggles right here because I am tired of looking at darkness right now with how late it is at night. So I am actually just going to grab the goggles, make everything easy to see. And you can just kind of appreciate the great texturing and geometry. It is a really neat map to look at. It's just very difficult to play just because it's very easy to get lost. So we're going to grab the yellow key card down here. This is the last one. We need to get to the central area. I'm going to save just so I don't forget in case I get blocked by cacodemons, because the cacodemons with their infinite, they love to block me with their infinite height, and I've actually died a couple times to them embarrassingly.
I think Scuba, you came up with map size limits with this one as well, didn't you?
I did, yeah. This is another one that 1 or 2 more line defs, and this one crashes Doom 64. And this one was really tough to fit in there.
Yeah, these days we have a little bit of extra tricks that we develop when we're working for the N64 to hide things off the block map, which is the collision detection. And then I think we could sneak in slightly larger maps now.
All right.
I don't even want to think about how big I would have made this if I had that tool.
All right, well, this fight ends, like this map ends with a fight again where we need to kill 2 Nightmare Cyber Demons. So this is why we still want 2 Unmaker keys. And so that was a very fast kill. We're gonna grab this other invulnerability and use it to snipe out the other one because the damage fluctuates so much on your lasers that it's very possible to not kill the first Cyber Demon before the invulnerability runs out. And then you have these really fast rockets just pinning you down and you usually die. So hopefully these Hell Knights get out of the way because they love, the Unmaker loves to target everything in the way that's not the Cyber Demon.
Gosh, they are not cooperating.
No, they are very not. Okay, that's okay.
Oh, nice.
All right, and now we can get out of here.
That's it. So we are in the final stretch here.
Yeah, so anybody who was paying attention an hour and a half ago, wow, but this might actually look a little bit familiar.
We're back at the beginning. Well, not quite, but close.
Not quite. Like, this actually freaked me out the first time I saw this because I was wondering, like, what had happened, and I was wondering where this map was going to go, but I really like the gimmick for this level. It's not a, like, super flashy or hard gimmick, but it is very interesting. So we get around to this portal that's opened up right here. And we're gonna hit a few switches here. And as we hit these switches and progress the map, everything around us starts getting shrouded in darkness, and these dark sectors become damaging sectors, and that ends up becoming our gimmick. So it's very interesting to just kind of watch this castle fade away piece by piece. So we're just gonna quickly move around. And this is actually one of the maps that concerns me most with routing a max category of this, because it's like, can I actually get 100% before I just literally died from darkness? That remains to be seen on my end, so maybe we'll find out in the future.
This is going back in the past of all of the scwiba's series has homages to his prior map sets.
This was, I think, mostly time-saving attempt, or I was just grabbing bits of old maps and shoving them in at the end of the WAD. Yeah, this is one piece from each of the previous WADs in this series. You're sort of going back through time as the darkness is eating them away.
Yeah, it's a really cool concept. It actually, I didn't know all that, because I actually played this first in your Unaligned series. So it's Unaligned, I think, Unnecessary, Unbeliever, and Unmaking, if I remember right.
Correct, yeah.
So I actually
but this
played
has
this
been
first.
This one has been the most popular by a large margin, so I think most people have no idea what these are a reference to, which is fine.
Yeah, I actually did not realize that, because I played Unaligned immediately after this, and then I finally recognized what the next room was, and I'm like, oh, okay. So it's a really good way to just kind of close it out, because this is the penultimate level. There's only one more level in the WAD after this.
Yeah, I like watching people play this one, because the darkness slowly starts squeezing them in, and they like, oh, I'm going to die. They get scared if you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, thankfully in the run, it's a nice, easy cooldown map, because you know where everything's going to be, you know what's going to happen, you know where the spawns are, so you're not going to get jumped, and there's plenty of supplies to work with. So we just use rockets for a while, and then we have plenty of cells left to just use the Unmaker for the rest of the level. Yeah, because we have all nightmare variants of enemies at this point, so enemies like the Mancubi are very tanky, so it's good to just clear them out ASAP. And health is not a concern, because there's plenty of pickups, and the beginning of the next level has a Megasphere, so it's not a problem. So this is the last room in the level. This is the beginning of Unaligned right here, where it all started.
Yeah, and actually I think this is the first map I made for the whole series.
Oh, wow. So you actually went reverse John Romero in terms of designs. So John Romero had a design philosophy of make your first map last so that you have the most experience and the best impression. So it's funny to like think about now that you went the complete opposite.
Yeah, I hadn't learned that lesson yet.
So more and more stuff's just going to darken away, and we're just going to be fighting off. It's just pretty easy sets of enemies. Just be wary of lost souls, and not a whole lot else going on here. But it is nice to see the rooms rebuilt, because comparing this with the Unaligned version, you can see like the difference in textures and the lighting, and I think it really does stand out still. And I think the way this level ends is one of the coolest ways you could really do an ending.
Oh yes, I love it. Fully getting squeezed by the darkness.
I think you spawn blocked the very last enemy though, right?
I usually try to. It doesn't matter, because everything's on a timer, but it looks cool. You just kind of get to appreciate the darkness a little bit more. I actually failed it in my practice run, so maybe we'll just fail to see it, and we're just going to be doing a little dance for a while. All right, so it should be 2 more Nightmare Pinkies. We're going to stand right here. This should be the right spot. We're going to block a, believe a Hell Knight when it shows up. Yep. Nice. So all that's left are these 2 non-damaging sectors, and once the darkness transitions, these sectors become exit sectors, and you just kind of just are left alone in darkness right here, which is just such a cool way to end the map.
You used to be able to actually die in that map and just like sit there as a corpse and wait the timer out, and then it would exit.
That's funny. I didn't know that. All right, so this is Aligned in Darkness. This is the last map. This is going to be a very silly way to end this. So this is just a giant dark arena with candles on the side. So we're going to the east side of the map right here. Keep an eye on that switch because that's actually critical for my strategy. So this is either going to be done well and look extremely trivial and boring, or it's not going to go well and we're going to spend an extra 5+ minutes here.
I always call this map an asteroids map because there's always like projectiles flying around and
I like that analogy. This is the asteroids map. Especially at the very end where you're just going to see hilarious swarms of enemies. So we're just waiting a timer out. We're going to wait until a cyber demon spawns, and then we're going to rely on RNG with the super shotgun. So because the super shotgun fires pellets at varying heights, we can use that to trigger that switch that we passed from a very long distance away. And that takes us to a secret room which has a whole bunch of invulnerabilities. It has 3 invulnerability squares and some megaspheres and some other stuff. That's going to be the key to making this very easy, because then we can fight stuff that we need to trigger point blank instead of having to deal with all of these waves of enemies, as well as giving us a nice safe spot to just kind of sit around in. But keeping track of the switch is the hardest part, so I have very specific movements to make sure I know where I am.
Even when I'm playtesting this map, I lose that switch all the time.
It's hard because, like, if you just look out there, there's nothing to help you reference. You just have to know what part of the wall you're on. So this is going to be the last part of this lap, and then we should get the cyber demon to spawn soon. So we're good. So let's get the switch to hopefully open. So good second try right there. So we're going to grab an invulnerability. So he's right in front of us. So very convenient.
nice.
So we get rid of him. So after him, 2 Nightmare Cyber Demons are going to spawn. So we're going to deal with them next. So you can actually see them for a brief moment. They actually like walked in from the distance there. So now they spawn at opposite ends of the map. So we have enough time on our invulnerability to kill this one. And then we're going to go back to the secret and grab the second invulnerability sphere so that we can safely deal with the next one.
Yes.
Which you can see all these projectiles everywhere, so it's a little scary. Oh, please hit. Please hit. Like I said, this is all luck whether the super shotgun cooperates or not. Okay, finally got it. So we should be all right here. So we're going to grab the second amount. Go up and left from here. So we should see the rocket trail soon, hopefully. There he is. Like, I don't know if these are actually tied to any, like, scripts to advance, but getting rid of them just saves so many headaches that it's just worth it for me.
Yes, there's 4 enemies you have to kill.
Okay.
One is the first cyber demon, then the 2 nightmare cyber demons, and then the final enemy that we'll see in a second.
Okay, so that does trigger. So now the mother demons start spawning in. So now this is the point where we need to get back to the room. So hopefully we get this. Oh, nice, first try. So hopefully getting there. So now, unfortunately, this is the boring part where I'm going to fire 250 bullets out of my pistol to act as a timer.
Yeah.
So we have to wait for, I think, 3 or 4 waves of mother demons to show up. And then the nightmare mother demon shows up, and that's the one that ends the map. So we're just going to be firing until it looks to be about 225 bullets. 225? 125. So once we get down to 125, we'll stop firing. We should be able to hear a mother demon spawn in, and that'll be the one that we need to kill. We'll grab the rest of the stuff and we'll kill it out. And the reason I came up with this firing method is because they like to get in fights with the other enemies, even from this position. And when they kill an enemy, they're re-aggroed on you and you hear the death scream. So you can't use the number of screams as an accurate timer. So firing the pistol over and over is just so much more reliable. It's a really funny way to end it, even if it is rather silly.
While that number ticks down, I just want to quickly shout out that we have Quake Enhanced coming up right after this. So if you are enjoying this run, if you enjoy classic shooters, there is another one coming up right after this is done.
Yeah, I believe the category is Dimension of the Machine, which is the new one that was
it is.
that was added in the enhanced version. It's a really cool campaign that you should definitely check out. And it's Quake. Like, who doesn't love Quake?
Yeah, it's a very beautiful map set.
All right, that should be about good right there. So I'm going to go ahead and save. I'm going to just wait for a bit. So we should hear a Mother Demon show up soon, and then we'll grab the rest of the stuff and just unmake her to death. And there it is.
Oh, right there.
Yeah, it just conveniently spawns right where you teleport in. And we're going to see all these projectiles also start shooting in where our position is. This is what we avoided. And then one last jump scare and a very loud scream. That is a lot of enemies. So time is coming up when we hit the results screen, and that is time.
GG.
GG.
GG. Well
Thank
done.
you very much. So I'm going to let this last cutscene play out. Scwiba, I would like you to read this one out.
Finally. Here in the deep darkness, you can no longer make out the misaligned textures, the terrible speed mapping, the obnoxious gimmickry. Maybe here, at long last, you can find some reprieve from this unending series. Thank you so much to all of you, by the way, for playing my silly maps.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that was the Unmaking. This is a really cool WAD. It is my favorite custom Doom 64 WAD. Thank you for making it. Thank you, GDQ, for having me to showcase this off. And just as a heads up, there is plenty that we didn't see in this. We didn't play the secret levels, and there's also a bunch of bonus maps that you can select that have some really interesting challenges, especially if you try and finish the very last map. But you should definitely check this out. Check out a whole bunch of custom Doom 64 content. If you're interested in speedrunning or just in Doom 64 in general, we do have just a general Doom 64 Discord for getting resources, speedrunning, just hanging out. You should definitely come hang out with us. Scwiba and Immorpher, is there anything else y'all would like to say?
So if you want to find all this stuff, just go to doom64.com. You can find all of our associate communities. And I won't spoil it yet, but we'll be taking over another community soon as well. So you'll find us in a lot of places and get to hear way too much Doom 64 that you might not want to hear about.
I would just like to thank you, Zelo. I'm sure none of this would have happened if you hadn't been pushing to play this. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate you. Yeah, thank y'all for being here with me. It's a fun time. It's just a fun time. I love showing this game off, and it's the first time I've actually gotten to show off a custom WAD because it's hard for me to usually find time to play custom stuff these days, so it's great. But thank y'all for having me. Definitely stay tuned for Quake, and Helix, I'll wrap it back up to you.
Thank you so much for being here. You picked the perfect show to throw a custom WAD at, so... Yes, stick around. Quake Enhanced Dimension of the Machine coming up in just a few minutes. We are going to take a quick break as we set that up. While we're on this break, I need you all to do me a favor. Type !Discord in our Twitch chat if you're not already in it. And join the official Games Done Quick Discord and add the Hotfix role. That's a great way, if I could speak, to get involved with the GDQ community. You can stay in the loop on upcoming events, chat with staff, and things of that nature. So like I said, !Discord in our Twitch chat, join our Discord, and I will see you all right back here in just a few minutes for Quake Enhanced Dimension of the Machine.